welcome back. Well, if you joined us late, we're talking about refugees and resettlement of people coming into America from all parts of the world. And I hope you'll stay with us. It's very confusing, but we're trying to grasp what's really going on, and that maybe the average person of us doesn't even understand it. My guest Beverly Owensby is here, and Dr. Christina Jeffrey from Wofford College. Now, I'm going to turn this over to you, Beverly.
Okay. Yes,
bring us into the facts as we can understand it.
Okay. As I said earlier, in April of 2013, Dr. Jim Goodrow, who is Director of Missions at Spartanburg County Baptist Network, along with 25 other faith-based individuals, invited World Relief to come to Spartanburg. And out of that discussion, they decided that they wanted to have a refugee resettlement in Spartanburg County. And then World Relief then submitted a proposal 1 year later, which was last year, to the State Department, and then it was approved in November. They had a community meeting in August, and they have had a community meeting in January. In April of this year, Trey Gowdy sent a letter, Congressman Trey Gowdy sent a letter to Senator Kerry, John Kerry, asking him about this resettlement and had some questions that he wanted answered. And so, and then April 21st, Nikki Haley has said that she approves of this refugee resettlement. But some of our concerns are the fact that they're going to be coming, and that we're supposed to get 60 in Spartanburg over the next couple months. Once they come, then, and once this office is set up, and there is going to be a World Relief office set up in Spartanburg County, they've already hired an executive director. Once you have that office, then it will be a continuous thing every single year.
Yeah, so it isn't just 60 people, it's what's going to expand.
Yes, and every single thing that they're coming here with nothing. So basically, then the United Nations, in cooperation, of course, this works through United Nations with the cooperation of the United States Department. And then also we have some other individuals that I want to talk about briefly, but I'll get to that in a minute. Basically, each of these individuals, it's close to about $2,000 that the State Department pays World Relief, about $850 a refugee that will come to Spartanburg. And then each refugee gets about $1,125 for their basic necessities. Then everything else is not paid through these individual churches that are asking them to come. It falls on the backs of the taxpayer, because then they will get free housing, free clothing, free food, free health care, free education, everything. Interpreters, because
they will not security.
They will not speak our language. And Christina's going to talk a little bit later about how they will even be allowed to vote. But you know, it's just kind of troubling to me that we are very compassionate. We're Christians. You know, we care about our country, we care about others, but yet our country has debt of $18 trillion. And there's just a point where you have to say we can no longer continue on with other individuals. And in the past, the way that refugees have been actually settled in the United States is individual Christians or churches have been responsible for reaching out through a missionary or a mission board and bringing those individuals here.
Well, I was told that these churches, and I don't know if this is true, but certain churches are being paid so much ahead to resettle these people. The churches are being paid. Now, I don't know if that's true, but that's what I was told.
Right, and the thing is, there's been kind of some figures that we've heard that it ends up costing, it'll end up costing the taxpayer somewhere around $10,000 a person. And I mean, that's just to kind of get them set up and established. Now, the way that the churches are going to get money and these organizations, now in the case of the Lutherans and Catholics, they actually are acting as contractors. And in the case of our local Baptist network, it may be that they can apply for grants. There's lots and lots of money out there that they can get grant money, and it might just be that we're going to teach them about American way of life. We're going to do marriage counseling. I mean, someone said that was kind of a little bit absurd when you're talking about, you know,
and
coming
these people do not speak English.
They do not speak, so they're going to have interpreters.
Where they're coming from?
Well, this is something that I wrote an opinion piece after the first article appeared, and it took me a couple of weeks to get the paper to
Okay,
agree
well-
to print it. Our main sticking point, it's my opinion, that with over 4 million Syrians in UN camps, and
They would
and
be
the
coming
UN,
from Syria.
and the UN is trying to get us to take 1 million of them, that a new refugee resettlement office is going to get a lot of Syrians. Now, they like to have a mixture of people in a place, though, because that way each of the people who comes can bring their relatives. Well, if you brought them all from the same place, they might be related to each other and you wouldn't get as many relatives. So they have lots of different, usually a variety of immigrants in the same area. And that puts a lot of strain on getting interpreters for health care, for court costs, and for the schools.
How do you send a child who has no knowledge of English into a classroom?
You hire.
You'll have to have an interpreter in the
Yes,
classroom.
you will. You will.
And Manchester, New Hampshire, the mayor is trying so hard to stop the influx of refugees there. They're up to 82 languages in their schools.
So now it isn't just South Carolina. It isn't
no,
just Spartanburg
we're
or
like
Greenville.
100 cities.
There are other cities affected by
Yes,
this.
ma'am, 100 across the United States.
190.
All right,
Yes.
now we put a website. If people want more information, is that the best way?
That is a wonderful
To go to that
website.
website?
If you got refugeeresettlementwatch.wordpress.com up there, yes, that is a wonderful website. It was started by a lady named Ann Corcoran, nice middle-aged Christian lady, who initially wanted to help the refugees. She noticed that they were just being dropped off.
She's up in Maryland, I think, or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
Hagerstown, Maryland. And when she realized that this was a big national program, huge amounts of money being moved around, nobody on the local level being told anything, their congressman not being told anything.
All right, so what do you recommend now? These people have not arrived yet, and we don't know if they're supposed to come to Greenville. What should we do?
Well, you're going to get people from who, once a refugee arrives, they arrive as a legal resident. They get asylum status, and they are legal. It's a free country. Once you're here, you can go anywhere you want. So Greenville will be a recommended place. If somebody doesn't want to be in Lewiston, Maine, they can get on a bus and come to Greenville. So you will be getting refugees. It won't be as organized as it is in Spartanburg because we don't have any yet.
Okay. Now, I have this one question, and I'm sure somebody out there is thinking this. Most people in the United States, except for our American Indians, came from someplace else. Our ancestors came from someplace else. So they'll say, well, that's really discriminating if all of a sudden, we can't take anybody. How do you?
Well, we have legal ways of
So
immigrating.
these people are illegal.
We're making them, by executive order, we're making them legal.
Okay.
And they will be fast-tracked to citizenship. But they don't even have to be citizens. I just learned Monday that in South Carolina, nobody is authorized to question a person's citizenship when they register to vote.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. So things are changing pretty fast.
Yes.
What is your advice for people out there to want to learn more, and do you have an organization that people can join, or what?
Well, we have a Twitter account that's being listed, and also we have a Facebook page. So we welcome your comments. But I did want to have a couple quotes I wanted to read for you.
Before we're out of time.
Yes, ma'am. This is the founder of the Evangelical for Biblical Immigration. Her name is Kelly Monroe Kuhlberg.
All right.
Perhaps we should, this is her quote, perhaps we should take notice when anti-Christian billionaire and globalist George Soros is the quiet founder of an evangelical campaign to promote a massive and confusing piece of legislation in our U.S. Congress. Remember the Gang of Eight and the illegal immigration? Mr. Soros and allies have funded open border advocacy in Europe, the yield of which we believe is in daily news stories of escalating chaos, debt, and violence. Now it's America's turn. But I want to go back and
We're almost out of time.
Okay, all right.
So,
Okay, so I have practical advice.
please.
Trey Gowdy, our congressman,
Yeah.
is the chairman of the subcommittee on immigration and border
security.
security. And that enables him to call for hearings and to put these people under
So
oath
we
and
should-
find out what is
okay.
really going on, and then introduce
time.
legislation.
Okay, we have to cut it off. I guess the best thing for all of us to do is just contact Trey Gowdy. We'll see you next time. Poor Trey Gowdy.